All right, you guys, we had a little bit of problem with the sound. So we're redoing it. And I realized even the recording, the sound was messed up. So my apologies, but I'm doing a live here. It's at 10:30, but just going here. We also do a live at 10:10 on our Facebook group. So if you wanted to go over there and be in that group, it's just facebook.com/groups// Jen O'Sullivan. That one's always fine. It's a little bit more relaxed. But I'm going to do it here so that we have it in the lineup. Otherwise, we won't have episode 11. Okay, so today is episode 11, and welcome back. I'm Jen O'Sullivan, your board certified naturopathic practitioner. I'm a best-selling author of many books on health and biblical studies and prayer. And I'm someone who spent the last 2 decades helping people rethink what they believe about health. And my goal and mission is simple. I want to help you rethink wellness to get back to the way God designed your body, your mind, and your spirit to function. So whether you're driving to work or taking a walk or starting your morning, I want you to grab your glass of water, take a sip. I want you to take a deep breath, and let's spend the next 10 minutes investigating and investing in your health together. Okay, so every Monday is Mindset Monday. I'm going to help challenge the way that we think, myself included, and we're going to examine the beliefs that we've accepted without questioning. Today's topic is one that quietly influences every area of your life. It's called conscious language. And what do I exactly mean by that? Well, conscious language is simply becoming aware of the words you choose before they leave your mouth and before they mind. And someone might ask, well, why isn't it called unconscious language, right? Because the goal isn't to study the words that happen automatically, it's to become conscious of them. And most of us speak on autopilot, right? We repeat phrases that we've heard for years without ever asking whether they're true or whether they're serving you, right? So conscious language is choosing words intentionally instead of automatically. And every day you're having a conversation. The question is, who's listening? Is it your spouse? Yeah. Your children are listening. Your friends are listening. Guess what? Your brain is listening. Your nervous system is, and your habits are. And eventually your future is. Research has consistently shown that the way we talk to ourselves influences our emotions, our resilience, our stress response, and even the choices that we make throughout the day. So think about that. If you repeated the same sentence to someone you loved every single day, what kind of person would they become? Now ask yourself, would you want someone speaking to your child the way you sometimes speak to yourself? I'm so stupid, I'll never change. I always mess everything up, right? I have a terrible memory. I can't lose weight. I'm bad with names, right? What if those aren't observations? What if they're actually instructions? I want you to think of your mind as a GPS, right? In your car, you type something in and it doesn't judge the destination you put in, right? It's not like, why are you going there? It simply calculates the fastest route to wherever you've told it that you're going. And if you tell it, your brain now, right? I always fail. Well, your brain's going to start looking for evidence. If you tell it, I'm learning, it starts looking for opportunities. It's the same brain, just different destination. Another way to think about it is this, like your words are like a thermostat in your home. And most people think they're simply reporting the temperature, like I'm tired, I'm overwhelmed, I don't feel good, I'm terrible with money, right? Whatever. Sometimes these are true, but many times they're also helping you set the temperature. Every time you repeat those phrases, you're reinforcing them. You're teaching your brain, this is who I am. Now, let me explain something fascinating about how God has designed your brain. It has a filtering system called the reticular activating system, or the RAS. Every second, your brain is bombarded with so much information that it can't actually ever consciously process it all. So it filters. It pays attention to what you are teaching it is important. So if you keep saying nothing ever goes right for me, well, your brain becomes remarkably good at noticing everything that's going wrong. So what if instead you said, God always provides what I need, or I'm becoming wiser every day? Your brain starts noticing opportunities, starts noticing solutions and actual evidence that supports those beliefs. Think this through, right? Your words don't magically change reality. They change what you pay attention to. And what you consistently pay attention to over time will often influence the decisions you make. So, have you ever noticed that certain phrases seem to play over and over and over in your mind? We call those tapes, right? Now, if you're under 40, you may not know what I mean, right? This is before Spotify and Apple Music, before streaming, before even CDs. We listened to cassette tapes. And when your favorite song ended, you pushed the rewind button. And then the exact same recording would play again. And many of us do that with our thoughts. We keep replaying the same recording. I'm not enough. I'll never change. Nobody appreciates me. I always fail. Maybe those words came from a parent. Maybe they came from a teacher or a coach. Or maybe they've come from your own mouth for years. And either way, those tapes are still playing. Conscious language is reaching over and pressing the stop button and then recording something better. Our words don't only shape our own lives, though, so we have to think about this aspect. They shape the lives of the people around us. So think about like a parent who always says, I'm proud of you. They're going to raise children who feel secure. Or a teacher who's always saying, I know you can do this. They usually unlock confidence. The opposite is always true as well, right? Think this through because this is something that is difficult, right? Negative labels have almost more staying power than positive labels. Some adults are still living, most of us are. I actually don't know of any adult not living under something, right? But most of us are still living under words spoken over us decades ago. You'll never amount to anything. You're lazy. You're the difficult one. You're a wimp, right? These words are our tapes. And by the way, scripture like God put this in the Bible, right? Understood this long before neuroscience. Death and life are in the tongue, right? Death and life are the power of the tongue. That's Proverbs 18:21. And notice it doesn't say only the words you speak to other people have power, right? You hear every word that comes out of your own mouth. So when you think about it, everyone else around you does too. Every conversation is planting something. And the question is, what are we growing? This doesn't mean pretending everything's wonderful, right? I'm not talking about standing in front of a mirror and saying, I'm a millionaire, I'm a millionaire, I'm a millionaire, right? When your checking account says otherwise, that's a fantasy. I'm talking about choosing truthful, life-giving language. So maybe it's, we have money, I choose not to spend my money on that, right? If you live here in the United States, you have some money, but you have to choose differently. Or instead of saying, this is what I say, instead of saying I'm broke, I say, other people have my money, they just haven't given it to me yet, right? It's interesting. It's just a different turn of phrase. Instead of saying I can't, say, well, I haven't learned that yet. Instead of saying I'm old, say I'm becoming stronger and wiser every day. Instead of saying I have to exercise, say I get to build a body that serves me. Here's one of my favorites. Stop saying I have to everything. Start saying I choose to. I choose to eat this. That's healthier, right? I choose to forgive. I choose to go to bed. I choose to spend time with God. Because most of the time you are actually choosing. And when you realize you're choosing, you actually regain responsibility. And responsibility is where freedom begins. So after working with thousands of people over the years, I've noticed something, that people who thrive don't necessarily have easier lives. I think that's a misunderstanding. And we have to think about that. They just simply have healthier conversations with themselves. They correct themselves without condemning themselves. They learn without labeling themselves. They fail without defining themselves, right? That failure won't define them. They move on. This is a big difference. Okay, so here's today's reset. For the rest of today, I want you to become aware of your language. Every time you catch yourself speaking something negative about yourself, I want you to pause. Ask, is this a life phrase or a death phrase, right? So if you said something negative, it's a death phrase. I want you to intentionally replace it with something that has both truthful and hopeful implications, right? So instead of saying, I'm terrible at this, say, I'm still learning. Instead of, I'll never change, say, with God's help, I'm growing every day. Remember this, every sentence you speak is becoming part of someone's inner voice. And sometimes that inner voice is you. Meaning your inner voice, right? Sometimes the person that's listening is you, and always it is, right? So I just encourage you to keep moving forward and keep catching things and keep growing. Okay, so if today's episode encouraged you, share it with someone who could use the reminder. If you've enjoyed 10 with Jen, I'd love for you to subscribe or add people to our group. Again, on Facebook, it's facebook.com/groups/Jen O'Sullivan. And here on YouTube, it is at Jen Naturopathy. And it might change to at Rethink Wellness. We're working that out. So just working through the show here. This is going to help more people discover the show and for all of us to come together on this journey towards better health. Okay, so tomorrow is Truth Tuesday. Promise I won't have the technical difficulties that we had today. And we're going to tackle one of the biggest myths that modern health has told us, right? Does your metabolism really slow down as you age, or have we been told the wrong story? Okay, so until then, keep rethinking, keep learning. Never forget your body was designed by God to heal, and your mind was designed to help lead it there. All right, I'll see you tomorrow. Take care and be blessed.